Sometimes you find an instrument where just everything went luckily right. Each instrument is very unique. And so imagine how much different wood, how much different pressure systems are put together in this instrument. The pressure needs to be exactly right from the strings onto the resonance board. There's tons of tension on the metal frame created by the strings being so tightened. And even the best manufacturers struggle to make instruments of the same quality. It is a very, very complex physical system, and you need a little bit of luck to make an instrument which goes beyond in terms of quality. We are in the middle of the recording room of Saal 3, where we recorded the piano and sampled it over many weeks. In the heart of this studio, there was always the idea to record good piano recordings and make the piano sound as good as possible. We are in the control room from the studio, and in this place, all the microphones we use in the recording room end up here. I'm collecting equipment since I'm 13, and I try to not buy anything new. As you can see, there's a lot of very unusual equipment around here. We centered everything around this console, which is a Neumann desk. The special thing is that these microphone preamplifiers are so clean and so subtle that you really start hearing the character of the music you record. You don't focus on the character, the technology, or how the cable basically sounds. I really want to hear how the instrument sounds, and especially pairing this preamplifier with, for example, the Neumann M50 microphone gave me the impression that the glass in front of the recording room and the mixing room disappears, and I'm just hearing it directly. And that was quite magical. And this is why I think it's so much fun to work with all that electroacoustic mayhem. Imagine there were 20, 30, 40, I don't know. The piano was filled with different microphones when we started to listen to the piano and make tests for the sampling library. In the end, what it came down to was mainly these two microphones, which are two Neumann M50. This is our stereo microphone setup here. And so I think, that's a great position, because it reminds me of how I hear the piano as a player. And then there is a smaller one, but a very heavy microphone. It's a Coles in the center. I'm obviously not the only one trying to record the piano as good as possible. There is Uli Baranowski, who is very experienced with the whole topic of recording instruments, first of all, because he's a very good engineer. He got a lot of experience with sampling instruments and making archives of sounds, which he then puts back together as these libraries, which then appear as the instrument is really in front of you. The idea of investing in a grand piano brought me to Yamaha. Every couple of weeks we could drive there and play some CFX. And finally I found one which had everything I wanted. It was the perfect instrument for me. And then a week later I called them and they said they sold it to another client, unfortunately, and there was a hiccup about it and nothing could be done about it. And so I had to find a new one, which is even harder when you loved one so much before. Finding the right car is probably easier. And so it took us another 20 pianos to see. Yamaha were really generous about and very patient with me. And then, almost like by fate, we met. It is now here forever, I hope. I called Uli and I was excited because I felt like it is, for me, the best instrument, the best grand piano I could imagine. Uli came to hear it. We both were quite struck by the quality of this instrument in particular. And so, we had to justify another grand piano library. I think that was not too hard because we had a plan to make it special. And with my amazing experts and technical team, we prepared lush-sounding, cinematic grand piano library with this muted tone. And I think that's quite something special and something we haven't heard before. Customizing the instruments for me is also just one way of getting to know them. It's a little bit of an awkward statement. I don't need to just like destroy them to just like understand them, but it is just a nice way of like seeing what is really going on inside and of being inspired basically by the physics behind the instrument, which for me is fascinating. The felt was an idea I had from the very start. When you put something in between the hammer and the strings, it makes the tone completely different. And I thought, okay, if we can remove the felt easily and go between two completely different sounds, it would be quite ideal, because then you basically have two instruments in one. The result was more inspiring. I don't really approach it in a technical way. I don't try to measure a certain status and then I change it and then I measure it again and then see what's the difference is. For me, the only critical moment in making music is when I approach the instrument and start improvising. I don't know what I want to play, and I just observe if I'm getting lost in it or not. And when we changed the hammers and when we changed all the things we had to do to make it, for me, the perfect instrument, it was exactly that moment. I came to the instrument, sat down, played and got lost for maybe, let's say, half an hour. And then I woke up and I was like, yeah, now I like it better, you know. And this is the quite emotional side of the maybe technical side, you know. You have a technical world and then you just measure the outcome of the technical operations and all the mathematics and physics behind it. You just evaluate and measure it with your heart, which is quite a beautiful process, because all the technicians working with you on it, they know what is the goal. Nils needs to love it in the end. And that's quite subjective. But yeah, it's just my opinion. Not just my opinion, I mean, everybody working on the sampling projects, I think, felt the same. For many reasons why piano recordings are complicated is there's a lot of factors to it. You need a good instrument. You need a good room to record in, because every room sounds different. For musicians, the room is basically the inspiration. It is the person who plays with you. I feel that the room takes everything I try to do very seriously. And I like that, you know, I like the serenity of it. And it was made in the 50s, and it is one of the best sounding rooms I've ever been in. And we are so lucky to have these gems in that condition, lying here in Berlin and being used today basically in that way. Since I'm not really known for using software instruments and I'm kind of standing for using real instruments, it was particularly interesting not just to ban the idea of sampled instruments, but try to approach the topic with these high ideals and high standards, to try to contribute something which hopefully adds to the world of sounds in a good way. I'm not entirely sure how it works in detail, but I was intrigued by the opportunity of learning exactly how good can these instruments get, how close are they maybe to the real piano, and if they are not really close, can they be nice in their own way, and what are the parameters? I felt like, yeah, this is the perfect setup, the perfect environment to try, let's say, the impossible, to make an instrument which is beautiful as this sound as good as possible in everybody's home or studio.